In this video, I talked to Franz from Selleck, who is sharing some interesting reports about Amazon PPC advertising placements and how you can use this data to improve the sales of your products. If you like videos like this with Amazon industry experts, click subscribe button below this video and make sure that you get notifications about new videos uploaded to Orange Klik YouTube channel. I hope this video will give you some valuable tips and will improve the sales of your Amazon products. Hello, Franz. So could you please introduce to Selleck and what you will be teaching us today?
First of all, I appreciate to be on the show again. I always appreciate sharing time with you. And so today what I want to do is I want to give some insights on how you can use the new placement reports in the PPC or to manage your PPC campaigns on Amazon. So Amazon released some new functionalities, and I want to share some data and some insights that will help you to make use of this to improve your performance.
And you are representing Selleck, so before we go into the tips, can you just shortly explain what is Selleck and how do you help Amazon sellers?
Sure. So Selleck is an all-in-one solution for brands that sell on Amazon. So primarily private label brands, but also larger brands that sell on Amazon. And the idea is really to offer a one-stop shop solution so that brands can find everything they need to manage and grow their business out of one interface. So our most popular features are PPC management, Amazon SEO, and profit analytics. Those are the three most popular ones. But we also offer competitive insights, inventory planning, review management, product research. So literally everything that you need to, for the entire journey from researching your product up to launching your product and then continuously managing your product and your Amazon business out of one solution. And so we've been around now for 4.5 years now. We've been one of the very first Amazon SEO software companies out there. And we're based out of Germany, but we have a lot of customers in the US. Actually, we have most of our customers in the US, and in fact, all over the world.
And always when we do a video together, I always like to mention that Selleck is made in Germany.
Yes, it's made in Germany. So all of our engineers are based here in Germany, and it's true. It's true. I hope this is considered a sign of quality, but I appreciate you mentioning this.
Cool. So let's jump into the tips. So you mentioned PPC placement reports. You found something interesting. So let's see what's that.
So to give you the bigger context, so when you go on Amazon and you have sponsored products, sponsored products, they can show up on different places, right? So when you search for something on Amazon, so let's say the good old barbecue gloves, right? You search for a keyword. Now there will be the sponsored products that show up, and so some of those ads will show up on top of the page, right? So as you can see here, you have sponsored, and so those are ads that basically show up above your organic search results. Then you will have some ads that either show up in between your organic results or at the end of your organic results, or maybe even on the second page or so. So that would be another placement. And then, as you can see here, so some of them are showing up at the end of your search page. And then obviously some ads will show up on the product detail page, right? So if you click on any product, you will have this line here that says sponsored products related to this item. And so those are ads again, right? So in total, you have 3 different placements where ads can show up. They can show up on top of page, rest of page. So on the search result page, but not on the top. That is essentially rest of page, and on the product detail page, which would be here. And so in the past, up until very recently, it was basically not possible to determine and understand where those ads would be showing up. So you only get your results, you get the number of clicks, you get the impressions, you get the sales and so on, but you don't get any indication as to where those ads are actually showing up. And so what Amazon released now very recently is basically an analysis that is called placement report that allows you to identify the differences. So instead of just having the aggregated numbers, now you can actually drill down and look at all the placements individually. So you can look at top of page, rest of page, or the product detail page, and see how many clicks and impressions and conversion rates and so on you get on those individual placements. And so what we did together with a few customers is we made an analysis across a few accounts to basically see if there are any differences and how the different placements are performing. And so what I like to do is share some results with you around this, because there are some quite interesting findings. What you see here is basically the total revenue by placement, and you will see we always have TP, which stands for top of page. So the blue bar is always on the first page on top of the organic results. PDP, which stands for product detail page, and then other, which would be on the search result page, but not at the top, right? And so if we go through the most important metrics, so first of all, if we look at revenue, you will see that, probably not so surprisingly, most of the revenue that is generated by ads is actually coming from the top of page ads. Now, what was a bit more surprising to us is actually that the next one is actually the product detail page. So the next product detail, so on the product detail page, you actually see almost as much revenue is being generated from the detail page than from the top of page. And then the rest of page, which means that if you don't rank at the top on the search result page, you see a very significant drop in revenue. It's not even half, essentially, of the revenue that's being generated at the top of the page, right? So being top of the page basically means that more than twice as much of the revenue is actually being generated top of page compared to the rest of page. So this is quite intuitive as we found. Now then, if you continue and if you look just at the bare clicks, so how many clicks are you getting? What you will see is that you actually get significantly more clicks on a product detail page than you get on the other placements, right? So basically you have twice as many clicks on the product detail page than you have top of page and other page. And so already if you combine those two charts, right, this is very interesting because you get a lot more clicks on a product detail page, but you generate less revenue than off top of page. And the same is true for, and so if you compare then the pages, you actually see that you get a very meaningful amount of clicks on the other placements, but you generate, again, only half of the revenue on top of page. So you can deduct from this, and in terms of conversion rates, obviously this indicates there are a lot of differences. And this gets even more extreme if you look at the impressions that you get. So if you look at the impressions that you get, look at this. You basically have, almost 10 times as many impressions on the product detail page than you get on the search result pages. So it is very significant. What it means essentially is that a lot of traffic and a lot of the clicks actually happens on a product detail page, even though the majority of the sales happens on the search result page. Okay, so that means that the results, if you look at the aggregated figure, if you just look at how many impressions you got or what your conversion rate is, then this gives you a distorted view because the differences between the different placements are obviously very, very strong. Now, if you look at the ACoS by placement, you will see that the ACoS is pretty much the same for other and product detail page, is meaningfully lower for top of page. And then if you look at some other, cost per click placement, obviously, top of page is a lot more important in terms of cost per click. So I think this is also pretty straightforward. And so I think the most important one is essentially this one. So this is the conversion rate by placement. So you will see that the conversion rate is almost 3 times larger top of page than it is for other or product detail page. So this is very meaningful. Click-through rate is obviously as well. You see very significant differences. So top of page is very, very. The click-through rate is significantly higher top of page than compared to the others or to the product detail pages. So overall, if you want to summarize all of this, you can say that top of page generates the most revenue. It has the highest click-through rate and the highest conversion rate. So in terms of volume, other placements are more important. But in terms of performance, top of page is performing a lot better than the other ones. So both click-through rate and conversion rates are significantly better for top of page than they are for product detail page and also for the rest of page. Then the next, so if I were to rank them, so top of page has the best performance. Rest of page has the second best performance, and product detail page has the worst performance compared to when it comes to click-through rate and conversion rate. But the product detail page has the highest volume. So what this means is that depending on your strategy, you should be focusing your ads on different placements. So if you really go for performance, if you want to have a high click-through rate and high conversion rate, then you should go for top of page. Okay. If you want to go for branding, and if you just want to reach as many people as possible, then you should rather go for product detail page, because there you will have more impressions and also more clicks. But the conversion and the total sales volume will actually be lower. Okay. So I think this is a very important distinction to make, and that the placements have a very different behavior. I think it is in line with what you see. So, one of the things we're wondering is, how is it possible that there are so many impressions and so much volume the product detail pages? So I think that, one of the reasons is obviously that when you look at a product detail page, right away you have, typically 10 ads that show up instantly. So you have more placements that show up here. Sometimes you even have a second bar, right? So, I mean, you have a pretty high volume here. And so as you have more placement, obviously it also makes sense that click-through rate and conversion rate is lower. So people that are already on a product here, they're already further down in the sales process than when on a product detail page. So it does make sense that, people that click here probably see, so you see a lower click-through rate and also a lower conversion rate, right? So now if you have, the question is now, what do you do with those findings, right? So how can you essentially adjust your campaigns? And so Amazon did not just release those reports, but instead they also released a way that you can basically adjust your bids based on the placements. So you can basically, starting from now, you can have different bids for the 3 different placements. And the way that Amazon does it, they have so-called bid modifier. So you can change you can decide to bid more on certain placements than on other placements by adding a certain percentage. So let's assume you have a base bid of $1 to keep it simple, right? So $1, you bid you bid $1 on the keyword barbecue gloves, and now you can decide that you want to bid a certain percentage of this for top of page and for product detail page. So you can say that top of page is twice as valuable for you as rest of page. So you can basically change your bid and set your bid to 200% instead of just 100%, which would mean that your bid would go up to $2 for top of page compared to rest of page where it's still $1. Okay, and so what I do suggest, and let me just go back to this one. We have, for those of you that are using Selleck, so you can do this in Seller Central, but I found it to be quite difficult in Seller Central. For those of you that use Selleck, in the PPC manager, we have a new thing called placements. And so in those placements, we basically do those analysis for your individual account. So the data that I just showed you is an aggregate across multiple accounts that we did the analysis with. But the obviously the results might be different for each account individually depending on your performance. So this is a kind of the general rule of thumb. Ideally, you want to do this analysis for your own account individually. And so if you want to do this in Seller Central, you basically need to make an export of the placement report and then do the analysis in Excel. And so I think it's easier in Selleck. So I'm just going to show it in Selleck. So basically, when you click on placement in Selleck, you will see the split of the different placements directly made for you. So you can see exactly top of page, product detail pages, and rest of search. And you can compare how much of the money are you actually making on the different pages. And so now here in this case, you would see that the sales are actually better on, or you actually generate more sales on product detail pages than on top of search, right? And so you could compare different metrics. So you could see what is my ACOS compared to my conversion rate, for instance, right? And so now if you look at the ACOS, you actually see that the product detail pages are actually the ones where you have the lowest ACOS. So you have a 32% ACOS compared to a 49% or 44% ACOS on top of a search. So what the suggestion would be here is to basically increase the bid on the product detail pages And do not increase the bid on the top of search, because obviously ACOS is already pretty high there. So the way that you would do this is you go to placements, and now you can see for the different placements. So let's say, product detail pages. Now you can set a bid adjustment. So you can say, okay, I'm willing to spend more on the product detail pages. So you can go in here directly in Selleck and basically make your adjustment, right? And change the bid individually. And make a certain adjustment, and change the percentage here essentially. So this is what you can do. So instead of just having 0%, which is the default bid, so it's important to note that this is the bid adjustment. Okay. So if there is 0% here, that doesn't mean that you're bidding 0%. It's just that you're bidding 0% more than your standard bid. So this is an adjustment of your standard bid. You can only increase it. You cannot decrease it. So if you bid $1 and it's at 0%, that means you're bidding $1. If you're at $1 and you bid 50%, it means effectively you're bidding $1.50. So this is essentially a bid adjustment that you can do, and you can do this by placement. So this is the tip that I wanted to share with you today, because I think this is very relevant. This is very fresh. It's actually the very first time that we share these insights, and so I think we always try to be up to date about the new things that Amazon is developing, and I hope that you can make use of this to improve the performance of your campaigns.
Thank you for watching this video, and if you would like to be notified about new videos I'm uploading with different Amazon industry experts, make sure that you click the red button below, the subscribe button, and the bell notification icon, so that you get notified immediately about new episodes uploaded to Orange Klik YouTube channel. Thanks again, and see you in the next video.